and new pick champ of the week because there's no one here to defend yourself, Dorian. Should have came this week, buddy. Hello and welcome to the Golden Octagon MMA Podcast. I am Matt Anderson. On the other side of your screen, you have no one today. We're normally joined by Dorian Rose, but for those of you who know, he has a family and a newborn baby. It's a slow week. He's going to go out and do his thing this week. It's all right. You get just me this week. If you're normally here for him, I apologize. Let him know that you miss him in the comments. You can't wait to see him back next week. With that being said, if you guys wouldn't mind, please put a thumbs up on the video. Let me know that you enjoy it. Let me know that you're watching. And if you don't like it, also let me know in the comments why you don't like it. And if you're not subscribed to the channel yet, help us out. Subscribe to the channel. We're slowly growing. We're slowly building up. We're going to get there one day. But without any further ado, let me give you a rundown of today's show. So up first, we're going to talk about this past weekend's fight. Not too much because it is Wednesday, and we just got to recap mine and Dorian's picks from this weekend. So UFC Fight Night Holm versus Caitlyn Vieira. Next topic on today's show, we're going to talk about MMA judging. I'm going to give you my thoughts and my opinions. I wish we had Dorian here this week to get his side, but it's all right. Up next, we're going to talk about fight news. Not a whole lot of fight news this week, but there was a few things announced over the weekend that I wouldn't mind talking about just a little bit. And the last topic on today's show, only for today because no fights this weekend, is Valentina Shevchenko. Some news came out or some topics came up about her over the past few days. I just want to give my thoughts on that whole situation. So without any further ado, let's get into it. All right, first topic on today's show, UFC Fight Night, Holm versus Caitlyn Vieira. I'm going to go over the results real quick. So Holm loses to Caitlyn Vieira by decision. Santiago Ponzinibbio loses to Michelle Pereira by decision. Chidi Njokuani knocks out Dusko Todorovic in the first round. Pollyanna Viana loses to Tabitha Richie by decision. Eric Anders loses to Jung Young Park by decision. So that is just the main card real quick. Joseph Holmes subbing Alan Omadovsky in the first round. Jelton Almeida subbing Parker Porter in the first round. Eurosmetic knocking out Omar Morales in the second round. Jonathan Martinez gets the decision over Vince Morales. Chase Hooper gets the third round TKO over Felipe Kolaros. And Sam Hughes gets the third round TKO over Elise Reed. So that is the results as a whole. The last fight that me and Dorian did pick that wasn't on the main card was the Chase Hooper versus Felipe Kolaros, and we did not pick on the Pollyanna Viana versus Tabitha Richie fight. So that being said, we had all the same picks aside from the main event, Caitlyn Vieira versus Holm, and Chase Hooper versus Felipe Kolaros. I picked Chase Hooper in that fight, so I got that one correct. He did pick Caitlyn Vieira in the main event, so he did get that one correct. However, it was a split decision. It was very disputed. He's not here to say no this week. It's a draw. I talked to him off the line. He thought Holm won. So you know what? I'm announcing myself and new pick champ of the week because there's no one here to defend yourself, Dorian. Should have came this week, buddy boy, but it is all right. You got a chance to win it back in 2 weeks. I am this week's pick champion. It is off of a draw, but it's all right. I'm taking it home. It was vacant, kinda. It's still going to be vacant, but it's all right. So that is this week's pick champ. I'm going to say right off the top, I just kind of talked about it right now. Holm, I thought she won 4 rounds to 1. Even if you wanted to give Caitlyn 2, I could see you giving her 2. In the end, Caitlyn Vieira gets it done via split decision. I'm really having a hard time seeing how this one was judged, and we'll get into it when we start talking about our next topic of MMA judging. But I really thought Holm was at least pressing the action, had enough volume, and had enough control to at least get 3 rounds to win over Caitlyn Vieira. But in the end, apparently not. Caitlyn Vieira was apparently doing more damage, and maybe like the judges thought that was the deciding factor in the fight. So the next fight of the night, another one that went to split decision as well. Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Michel Pereira. I thought it was clear. I like that Michel had at least the first 2 rounds. He was pressing the action, but in the end, it ended up being split decision. Santiago Ponzinibbio was heated at the end. He really thought that he won the fight. I didn't see it. I thought Michel won personally. It was a banger of a fight. We said it last week. This has all the makings to be fight of the night, as well as the Martinez versus like the Vince Morales fight, which ended up being kind of a one-sided beating. But we'll get into that. Next fight of the night, Chidi Njokuani taking on Dusko Todorovic. Me and Dorian both picked Chidi, and we both said he's going to knock out Dusko. I've said it multiple times. The way that Dusko puts his chin up is nuts when he backs up from any type of engagement. It's like this. It's not good. You shouldn't do that. But we didn't really see it this week. Chidi ends up ending him with a elbow inside clinch and just snoozes him from there. Dusko, I don't know, if he don't get the fight to the ground really quick, it seems like he's just going to get cracked, and it's not looking good for him. I was a fan of him early on, but I'm kind of starting to like see like, man, this guy can get cracked, and I shouldn't be putting my money on Dusko. I'm glad I didn't this week. Chidi Njokuani gets the knockout. One that was really surprising to me, we didn't pick on this fight, but Pollyanna Viana taking on Tabitha Richie. It looked like Tabitha Richie wanted to take a nap in the cage. I don't know what it was. She was clearly not winning the fight, and even in the 3rd round, she was just in her back thinking like the Richie was going to jump down in her guard at least. I don't know what was up with her. I'm a Pollyanna Viana fan, but that was just irritating. Seeing her do that for all 3 rounds, just wanting like Richie to jump in her guard when she's clearly not going to do it. After the 1st round, she wasn't going to jump down there again. She wanted to fight on the feet, and apparently Pollyanna Viana did not want it on there. She wanted it on the ground, so she was just laying there. I'm glad Richie won the decision. I'm mad at Viana because I do enjoy her as a fighter. I think she's lethal on the ground, but you can't just lay there. You have to fight at some point. Just an irritating fight all around. If you ask me, I'm a Pollyanna Viana fan, but just a bummer overall. Tabitha Richie getting the well-deserved decision there. I wish there was more action in the fight, but it is what it is. One that I did disagree with you on the judges' scorecards, although I did have Eric Anders, I also did have money on Eric Anders, but I thought Eric Anders had done enough to win the first 2 rounds against Jung Young Park. But in the end, the judges think Jung Young Park, the Iron Turtle, gets the decision. Kind of blew my mind a little bit. I was like, fuck, man, here we go again. Like, what really broke my heart on this one was it was the final leg on like a 6-leg parlay. It was like $2.50, like to win like 500 or something like that. So it really broke my heart. That I was like, come on. That was like the last leg that I needed. And I just needed Eric Anders to win by decision. And I was like, sure enough, I was up clapping. He ends up not getting the decision. Jung Young Park ends up getting the decision. Just a heartbreaker for betting for me this past weekend all night. I got so close so many times, but yet I just fall short. Parlays busted. We'll have to wait again until next week because once again, no fights this weekend. Just real quick, I'm going to talk about the Chase Hooper versus Felipe Colaros fight. Just real quick. Chase Hooper, man, he put a wrestling clinic on Felipe Colaros. He seemed to have really no issues getting him down, and his control on top was pristine. You cannot find better control that I've seen in a while. He used to have trouble holding his opponents down, but it looks like he's packed on just a little bit more muscle. He's growing up a little bit, still only 22, maybe 23 years old. I don't know, one of the two now, but you can see he is growing up just a little bit, kind of filling up into his body just a little bit. I heard during like the walk around weight that like he walks around at 180. That's what I walk around at. And Chase Hooper's maybe like an inch or two taller than me. I could not imagine getting down to 145 pounds. That is blows my mind that he can get down that low. I like if I at the very least I could see maybe 155 for myself, and that's like 30 pounds off of me. But I know I'm not like in the best shape right now, so that's the only reason why I said that. To cut down an extra 10 pounds and be bigger than me, that is nuts. I don't see how he does it. His future is definitely at 155 at some point. I'm interested to see where Chase Hooper goes from here. But I'm sorry, Dorian. You picked Felipe Colares and he got beat badly, man. It was not even close. Chase Hooper, the dream is back, baby. Let's stay on that dream train. All right, so that is the like the picks that we had. So just real quick on the rest of the prelims, Joseph Holmes subbing Alan Almadovsky, his name, yeah, Alan Almadovsky. He dropped him. He hit him with a crazy flying knee. He threw it once. He threw it again. The second time it hit him, dropped him, got on his back. Joseph Holmes, Ugly Man Joe, known for the rear naked choke. I called it in the change of cheddar, and it cashed plus 200. Joseph Holmes by sub. That one cashed. Jelton Almeida. Jesus Christ. Parker Porter did not stand a chance. Parker Porter is famously known for getting his ass beat by John Jones. They say it every single time. I don't know why they keep bringing it up that he faced John Jones. It doesn't matter at this point. Jelton Almeida showing that he can be a 205 Kamzat, switching back between 205 and heavyweight. And also, Parker Porter landed 0 strikes on him, just like his last fight, I believe. So it's 2 fights in a row now that he hasn't got touched at all. Flawless victory, 2 fights in a row, just like Kamzat. Keep your eye out for Jelton Almeida. This guy is an animal. Keep your eye on him. You guys should bet on him every single time until we see him up against this elite top of the 205 or the heavyweight division, because apparently he can swap back and forth, but I really see him staying down at 205. The only other one on that fight that I want to talk about is Jonathan Martinez versus Vince Morales. Jonathan Martinez was lighting him up with the leg kicks. Vince Morales could not get inside at all. He had no answer, and that was a story for all 3 rounds. Vince was trying to change stances, but there was no escape. He was just getting demolished by those leg kicks. Shout out the Dragon, Jonathan Martinez, always a fan favorite, always in a banger, always in what I consider that could be the fight of the night. This time it was a one-sided beating from the Martinez side, but let's go. Shout out Dragon. Shout out Jonathan Dragon Martinez. All right, so that is this past weekend's fights. We're going to move on down to the next topic, MMA judging. I'm going to give you my thoughts and my opinions on what I think's wrong with MMA judging in today's world, in the UFC at that. So this past weekend, we saw a few fights go to a split decision where I thought it was, I don't want to say a clear decision one way, but that's the way I saw it going 100%. And I watch every single UFC fight, prelims to main event, every single week. I feel like I know what I'm watching, but at the end of the day, we get surprised with these split decisions where everyone's like, what the hell is going on? Even the commentators, speaking on specifically the Holly Holm Lake versus the Vieira fight, DC, a double champ legend in the sport, thought Holly Holm had for sure won that fight. Caitlyn Vieira got read out loud the decision, and he was like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm watching. I have no clue. And that's kind of how I felt as well, because I thought it was clear. But what I think is wrong with it is just the consistency is off. The consistency for the judging is just so obscured. In one fight, you'll have the exact same thing happening as you will in one fight and get 2 totally different scorecards, and you don't know why. I think the fix to this is people need to stay consistent. The rules need to be rewritten into a way where it's like, this is the way it's judged, and we have to stay like this. Forget what you prefer. Forget what you like more. This is how it's judged, and this is the rules that you have to go by, because we get Sal D'Amato and Jurochiro Kamichi, I think that is her name, It's like these two people are the most opposite MMA judges as a whole. Like one will be top control the entire round, and one will have them losing the round altogether. On the other hand, Sal D'Amato will have like a person getting their face boxed off and still win that round because they landed one or two power shots. It's things like this that doesn't make any sense to me. There's no consistency. We need to have consistency in MMA judging, because at the end of the day, we're not going to have any clue what's going on if it goes to decision unless one person isn't getting fucking mollywopped at that's what I'm taking out of this. We got to stay consistent, judges. Come on now. And the fighters, you see how it's going. You see how it's going. You got to finish these hoes. I know that's always their goal, but at the end of the day, these fighters put in so much time and effort, their training camp, and they lose half of their money off of one bad decision at the end of the night. That being said, we got to stay consistent. Please, can we get it together, judges? Please. All right, moving on down to the next topic of today's show. We're going to talk about fight news. Not too much happened over the weekend, but we did get the announcement of UFC 277. That is the Pena versus Nunes 2 card. I'm just going to go ahead and read the fights that are on there. Juliana Pena versus Amanda Nunes 2 for the bantamweight title. We know what happened last time. Juliana hit her with that stamina sucker over and over and got her down, subbed her from a half sunk in rear naked choke, but Pena got it done. Next fight, Brandon, the Assassin Baby Moreno, taking on Kai. Don't blink. Cara France. That's going to be a banger. That is also number 2. They've also fought once before. Brandon Moreno did get the unanimous decision at the end of the night, but that is for the interim flyweight title, the 125-pound championship. I don't know what's happening with old Deuce Tiguera there. Apparently he doesn't want to fight, but we're going to have an interim championship at the end of the night. Derek Lewis taking on Sergey Pavlovich. This is a tough one for me because Sergey is lethal, and Derek Lewis, his past few fights, man, he just hasn't looked too good. Hopefully we can see the return of the Black Beast. I want to see Derek Lewis get back on the winning track. Hopefully we can see him get it done here. There's going to be a big size difference here, so keep that in mind. Derek Lewis is going to have a massive weight advantage over Sergey. Paulo Costa taking on Luke Rockhold and Magomed Ankalaev and Anthony Smith also on that card. The other part of that is Luke Rockhold versus Paulo Costa may not be happening because apparently Paulo Costa isn't going to be ready yet. He's trying to push the fight already back to August. So I don't know what's going to happen there. I don't know if there's going to be a replacement, if they're going to move something up from the prelims. Looking at the prelims, I don't see anything that could really take that main event spot. So hopefully they can get another fight on there to fill in that spot. That's what I would personally like, in my opinion, as a fan, because that was a good one. That was just an extra little bit of sauce to throw on that card just to make me want to buy it. I'm going to buy it either way, but even still. The only other fight news that I have this week is the announcement of Dana White Contender Series starts July 26th. If you are a Dana White Contender Series fan, like your boy here, I watch them all. I like to see the new upcoming talent in the UFC. On the other hand, Tough, I'm not the biggest fan of. It kind of seems like they bring people on there that aren't really UFC worthy just to have some drama, and I don't really like that. I just like watching the fights of Tough. I don't watch any of the other part of the show, just the fight. And I watched the first episode of this upcoming season, and I was like, hell no, not watching even the fights of this season. I did see that Kamaru Usman's brother is on there as a heavyweight, so maybe I'll go back and watch the fights after they air and such, just to see how he did. But I'm more of a fan of Dana White Contender Series, much more than Tough, and I'm glad to see that is returning this July on the 26th. So that is all the fight news that I have for this week. moving on down to the last and final topic of today's show, Valentina Shevchenko. We're going to talk about her. So there's been some news in the week that she's interested in the Amanda Nunes fight for the third time, but it looks as if only if she's going to have that championship. So this is all going to depend if Nunes can beat Pena in 277. If she can retain her title, Valentina Shevchenko wants to move up for the third time to fight Amanda Nunes. I see what she's seeing. She's saw Amanda Nunes get beat recently, and Valentina thinks that she has what it takes, that she can finally get it done over Nunes and be a two-weight world champion. My thing is, it's like, how long can you hold both? I know that that Valentina fights multiple times a year, but she's already fighting 3 and 4 times a year. Can she add another 2 and 3 on top of that to defend the 135-pound title as well? I don't know if she can. And also, she's getting older too. You guys have to keep in mind that we haven't really seen the end of the first wave of the women in the UFC. Like Rocky's still hanging around here. Sarah McMahon's still hanging around here. Juliana Pena is still hanging around here. There's a lot of these girls that are from that first wave. We haven't really seen the emergence of that second wave yet. The Aldanas, the Grassos, the Mackenzie Derns. We haven't really seen them emerge into the top as like, oh shit, there's something there that it's like they have something for the championship. We haven't seen those emerge yet. I do believe that it's coming, but at what point is it coming? So how long can Valentina hold both of these belts if she is able to get both of them? Because she is older. I just don't know. The women's height divisions right now, 125, 135, and 145, if you want to even call that a division, is so up in the air. You're seeing the what is the word I'm looking for? The heirs of the division, the ones that have been there for the longest. They're still at the top. They're still reigning. Holly Holm still up there. Amanda Nunes still up there. You don't really know how much longer they have left, and you saw it in this past weekend. Dean Thomas kind of said it. Holly Holm was kind of showing her age out there. I believe maybe her age is kind of catching up to her. And at what point is age going to catch up to the rest of the division as well, enough to where the old is coming down and the new is coming up, and we see that clash of the new guard is here, the new females are taking over? I think it's going to be in the next 2 to 3 years. I think in the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to see Valentina finally lose. I think you're going to see Amanda Nunes lose and continue to lose. I think you're going to see Holly Holm lose and continue to lose. I'm not saying now or next year. In the next 2 to 3 years, that's when you're going to see all of the people that you're like, damn, she's unbeatable. You're going to see them finally lose, and you're going to be like, oh, shit. Manon Fiorot is here. She's here to take over. Alexa Grasso is here to take over. Irina Aldana is here to take over. I think in the next 2 to 3 years, we're going to see that. But until then, Valentina Shevchenko wants to fight Amanda Nunes. If Pena loses to Amanda Nunes, if Nunes can retain her title against Pena this 277 fight card, I do believe the UFC can make that fight, and they will finally make that fight, simply because I think they're fully aware of it as well. They don't know how much time these girls have left in their career, so they want to get everything they can out of them while they can. And a super fight pay-per-view is a main event pay-per-view, or at least a very, very strong co-main event to a fantastic pay-per-view. And that is just way to milk that extra dollars out of what UFC has left of Pena. I keep saying Pena, of Shevchenko and Amanda Nunes. That is the perfect fight to make if Nunes can retain her title against Pena. But that is a tough ask, because Juliana Pena showed the first time she's got that jab on her. She can suck the stamina out of Amanda Nunes. She can put that Kimura on her, drain her energy for the entire first round. Don't count out the Venezuelan Vixen. She's always down for a fight. And I got to be honest, I'm rooting for her in the second fight. I just don't know if she's going to be able to get it done because Amanda Nunes has to know that what her issue was her cardio. She has to buckle down this time, get that in check, and she should be good. She dropped Pena multiple times in the first round of the first fight. So that being said, it is a mess, but it's interesting. I see Amanda Nunes getting her title back, them making Valentina Shevchenko versus Amanda Nunes 3 for probably the biggest women's fight in UFC history, if they can get that done, or if not, like the biggest payday in the two of each of theirs careers. But that being said, I'm not going to hear ramble anymore. It's been awkward enough talking to myself here today. If you saw it to this point, I appreciate you watching. Remember, please put a thumbs up. I appreciate it. If you're not subbed yet, come on, sub to the channel. Any other thoughts or comments? Letting Dorian know that you miss him. Put it all down below in the comment section. He reads them. I read them. We're going to respond to you. With that being said, that is all for me here today. I am Matt Anderson. I'll catch you next week. Hopefully Dorian will be here. Peace.